Alright, hey guys, Fiddle Ferret here, and welcome back to another episode of Nobody But You, or No One But You. And the last episode was pretty heavy, and I feel like this episode is not gonna be much different. So, strap yourselves in, guys, because the field train is chugging along. Good morning, Aki-kun. How are you on this fine, beautiful morning? Megami's voice, always several decimals higher than it should be, bore through my skull like a dentist drill. The split second I left my house to go to school, there was Megami, waiting on my doorstep like an abandoned puppy. As considerate as it is for Megami to wait for me, I can't agree with her summation. Fine, beautiful morning? Screw that. All I want to do right now is crawl upstairs and crawl in my bed. Though, I guess it's a little late for that. Besides, I did say Megami could walk with me to school this morning, and I don't want to go back on my word. Because it's my ninja way! I never run back. Anyway. I'm just a little tired. I'll survive. Ooh, my volume is a little loud, and I need to turn it down a little bit. That's better. You're right, you do look a little sleepy. The bags under your eyes are huge. Thank you for pointing that out, Megami. No problem. Is she making fun of me, or did Megami really miss the sarcasm there? Anyway, let's go. It's bad if the class rep herself is late to school. Without waiting for my input, Megami grabbed my hand and dragged me along behind her. I tried to resist, but in the face of Megami's unusually high spirits, I knew there was no point. Geez, what's gotten into Megami? She's always energetic, but today she seems to be in a better mood than usual. As I stared at our joined hands, another thought came to my mind. Come to think of it, although I like Megami, I liken Megami to a puppy and call her Hachiko. Right now, she's the one leading me around. Maybe this is punishment for my wicked thoughts. I sighed internally, aware of the futility of resistance. Oh well, what's the harm? Even if seeing us like this gives people the wrong idea, I don't think anybody would really care. Besides, the streets are relatively deserted, so it's not like, oh, Hideki-kun, oh, you going to school with your girlfriend? Okay, maybe I spoke too soon. A woman from my neighborhood greeted us as she stood proudly in her garden. She smiled happily at the two of us, showing no intent whatsoever. In return, Megami waved enthusiastically, wearing a smile so bright it put the woman's sunflowers to shame. That's right! I'm Megami, and I'm Hideki's girlfriend! No. Does she... So curious, we might be about to find this out. She doesn't actually think this, does she? Because if she does, this is gonna be a little awkward. Really? How nice. Okay, this has gone far enough. Thud. Oh, shit! What'd you just do? Ow! Megami whimpered, using her free hand to nurse the top of her head. What was that for? Why did you hit me? Because you're giving people the wrong idea. If you say things like that, the neighborhood will start gossiping. Oh, so you're not going out after all? No, we're not. Megami was just teasing you. Megami frowned as she puffed out her cheeks. But Hidi, I am a girl, and I like it. That props, I like that. And I am your friend. Well, that's true enough. So that means I'm your girlfriend, right? What kind of elementary school reasoning is this? You're not 6 years old anymore. A line like that might work when delivered by a childhood friend, but I've only known Megami for a couple months. It means that you are a female friend, not a girlfriend. There's a big difference. If you say so. Megami continued to pout. Oh well, we can't keep standing around here or we really will be late. Bye-bye, miss. Goodbye, it was nice to meet you, Megami-chan. Yes, you too. And don't worry, we'll be neighbors before you know it. Nope, not touching that one. Oh, Megami. You're almost cute if you weren't so creepy. Megami walked along ahead of me, no longer holding my hand. Even so, she continued to smile, humming a tune under her breath. Even though I find Megami's boundless enthusiasm a bit exhausting, I have to admit it's also rather impressive. She spoke to a complete stranger so easily, and even seemed to get along with her despite exchanging only a few words. Although, Megami, do you spend a lot of time with your grandparents? Oh yeah, I do. I love them a lot. And do they give you a big allowance every New Year's? Of course. They say I'm their darling little Gumi-chan. I knew that. Megami's just popular with old people. They must all be deceived by her bright smile and innocent charm. Megami soon resumed her humming, having already moving past the scene for moments ago. Seriously, Megami, you must be the polar opposite of Chinatsu. Chinatsu is quiet and reserved, polite to the point of awkwardness, content to read in silence for hours on end. Megami, on the other hand, is fun and outgoing, easy to approach, friendly, and boisterous beyond compare. Really, I just can't understand how I can get along so well with two complete opposites like this. Although, right now, I guess I would be a stretch to say Chinatsu and I get along. Well, at least when I'm with Megami, I don't have to worry about that stuff. If nothing else, her company should distract me from more depressing thoughts. In exchange for creepy encounters like this morning, that is. Hey, Aki-kun! Megami suddenly stopped humming and turned to face me. Her voice was more serious than before, and she seemed unusually reserved as she spoke. What is it? I was just thinking, you've been acting a little strange lately. Strange? What do you mean? Like, distant, I suppose. You never wanted to go out during the summer holiday, and you didn't want to eat with me at school yesterday either. I told you, that was because I got heat stroke. Megami looked up and down, placing her hand under her chin, as though she was some kind of detective. All she's missing now is a pipe and a deerstalker hat. You look all right now, though. Although Megami acts dense most of the time, sometimes I wonder how much of that is an act. Her common sense only seems to kick in when it's to her benefit. Incidentally, it fades when I need it most. I feel better today. I made sure to have a cold shower last night. Well, I'm glad you feel better, but, I saw you in town a few weeks ago. You did? Yeah, I was going to say hi, but I just brought some ice cream from the convenience store, so I just didn't want it to melt. Besides, you looked kind of serious, so I thought maybe you wanted to be alone. You were standing by that bridge, looking out over the water. So Megami saw me when I was waiting for Chinatsu. This must have been during the last couple of miserable weeks of the summer holiday, when I waited by the bridge for hours on end. I don't really want to think about that right now. It's depressing. There was something funny about you, though, Hide-kun. Or Hyde-kun. Hide-kun. I was kind of worried. Funny? Yeah, I mean, you were standing there all alone, and yet... Oh, frick! Freak away! Oh! Damn it! Hey, guys! Walking to school like a pair of lovebirds, I see. I heard a dull thud and felt a weight pressed against my back. I blinked momentarily winded and turned around, searching for my assailant. Ugh, it's Ryo. Ugh! Attached to my back was Ryo, acting as inappropriately clingy as ever. Yo! Go yo yourself! I love that line. I should use that. You could have broken my spine. Yeah, well, I could have, but I didn't, so it's fine. Hey, what's the big idea? I was trying to have a serious conversation. You? Serious? That's a good one, Megami. Don't be like that. I know I don't look very smart, but even I can be serious sometimes. I might have pink hair, but that doesn't mean I'm an idiot. Hey, calm down. I'm sorry if I interrupted anything, Megami. I just wanted to talk to Hidi about a new Girls vs. Zombies game. Well, I suppose that's fine. Megami sighed, unable to defend against Ryo's enthusiasm. Although she didn't say anything else, I got the sense that she was disappointed. Just what was she going to ask me, I wonder? I guess I'll never find out now. Oh, frick me! I want to know what the frick is going on here. Oh, we're going ahead so many days. Damn it. Damn game. Toying with my emotions. It's not nice. Time slowly passed me by. I still saw no sign of Chinatsu. I stopped by the literary club, only to find it locked, and I visited the bridge daily, yet never managed to see her. After 1 week passed by, a rather gloomy thought began to sprout in my brain. Has Chinatsu stopped going to school altogether just to avoid me? If so, she must really hate me. It would make sense, depressing as it may be, and yet I can't quite bring myself to believe it. If Chinatsu hated me, then why did she allow me to grow so close to her? Why did she talk to me so often, and why did she look so upset the last time I saw her? Something isn't right here. It's not adding up. Unfortunately, since Chinatsu hasn't told me anything about her circumstances, I don't have all the information I need. I could only trudge through my daily life, running through the motions, forget troubling myself with increasingly melodramatic what-if scenarios. No, if I keep going on like this, I can't keep waiting for Chinatsu, hoping to catch a glimpse of her at school, or in the club room, or by the bridge in town. What if there's something seriously wrong with her? Maybe one of her parents just died, or she's contracted a deadly illness. If so, then I want to know. I said I was Chinatsu's friend, and as her friend, it's my duty to stand by her side during these difficult times. Knowing Chinatsu, she might not have anybody else to turn to. She might be alienating me out of fear that her concerns will only trouble me. But that's wrong. Friends need to rely on each other. That's what friends are for. We skipping more days? No, not yet. After my last class of the day ended, I found myself talking to my homeroom teacher. Excuse me, sensei? Our homeroom teacher sighed as he heard my voice. I know I'm not the greatest student, but I surely didn't deserve that response. Yes, Natoi-san? What is it? Well, I was just wondering, do you know a student called Misaki? Chinatsu Misaki? Chinatsu Misaki? Sensei repeated the question in a typical low, drawn-out manner. No. I don't think I've heard of any student by that name. Are you absolutely sure? Sensei nodded, and this time, it was my turn to sigh. What was I expecting? Sensei doesn't know the names of the students in his own class, let alone the students in other classes. Alright, Sensei, thank you for your time. No problem. Have a good evening, Natoi. And if you're looking for somebody, you should go to the staff room and ask there. The other teachers might know more. Got it. Thanks, Sensei. On that note, I walked out of the classroom, trying not to let my obvious disappointment show. It was foolish of me to think I could find Chinatsu so quickly. It would be easier if I knew which class Chinatsu was in, so I could ask her homeroom teacher directly, but I don't. That is, yet again, an important detail I don't know about Chinatsu. Still, Sensei's advice was sound. I guess a trip to the staff room couldn't hurt. As optimistic as I was half an hour ago, my search proved to be in vain. One of the 5 teachers who were present in the staff room, none of them knew a Chinatsu Misaki. They'd never even heard of her. There were other Misakis, and there were girls with similar names, but no trace of Chinatsu. This is really perplexing. I'd understand 1 or 2 teachers not knowing the name of a student, but 5? Heck, if we include my homeroom teacher, that would make 6, and not one of them has ever heard of her? Something isn't adding up here. As quiet as she is, I can't believe that Chinatsu really would go so unnoticed. As I began to think about giving up for the day, I heard footsteps approach from behind. Aki-kun, you still here? Megami. I turned to face Megami, surprised to find her still on campus. What are you still doing here? Did you forget? I'm the class rep. Besides, I had to stay behind for a student council meeting. Oh, was it interesting? About as interesting as watching paint dry. Really, all of these meetings are so silly. We have them every single week, but nothing ever gets done. It's so the school looks progressive and forward-thinking, allowing us students to make changes on important decisions. Maybe on paper, but it never works out in reality. You sound unusually bitter. I'm just tired. I've had a lot of work to do. It certainly is true that Megami seems more mellow than usual. If she really was a puppy, I imagine her ears would be drooping. Anyway, that's beside the point. Now you know what I'm doing here. What are you doing here, Heidi? You weren't trying to sneak into the girls' changing rooms, were you? No, of course not. Why would I do that? Especially this late in the day, when all of the girls in the sports clubs have gone home already. I don't know. I'm a girl, so I can't understand you boys. Maybe for the thrill of it. I'm kind of hurt that you have such a low opinion of me, Megami. Huh? You're always talking about that weird game you played with Ryo. What was it called? Schoolgirls vs. Monsters? It's Schoolgirls vs. Zombies, and Ryo is the one who's obsessed with it, not me. Well, I'm not going to lie and say that I'm not a bit interested in it. For the story, of course. I keep telling you stuff that, Hideki. You'll eventually believe it. Really though, how did a girl like Megami wind up on the student council anyway? Giving someone like her that much power, is it just because she's popular? That's how class representatives usually get chosen. Actually, that piece of information might be just what I need. Say, Megami, you're pretty popular, right? I like to think so. I did get voted in as class rep after all. So she realizes that it's just a popularity contest, huh? Of course, she might have just gotten the job simply because nobody else wanted it. So you're familiar with the school, right? You know a lot of students here? Sure, probably more than our homeroom teacher. I sure hope so. Why are you asking anyway, Aki-kun? Are you looking for somebody? Yeah, you could say that. It's not a girl, is it? Surely you wouldn't ask your girlfriend to help you chase skirts. There's no correct way to respond to that, is there? No, it's not like that. I mean, she is a girl, but I'm not trying to chase skirts. I'm just worried about her because she hasn't been attending lately, that's all. Oh, I see. Well, I suppose I can help you out then. What's her name? I believe shit is about to hit the fan. She's gonna get this horrified look on her face, isn't she? Chinatsu Misaki. Do you know her? Chinatsu Misaki. The name does ring a bell, but I don't think a student by that name goes to our school. But she has to. I saw her wearing her school uniform. Maybe she was a cosplayer. You can buy our uniform online really cheap. I don't know about that. That seems a little odd. I can't imagine the graceful, elegant Chinatsu doing something that brazen. It didn't add up. Besides, if that were the case, why would I have seen her at school? How would she have joined the literary club? Actually, now that I think about it, maybe I do know Chinatsu Misaki. Do you? Are you sure? Yeah, I think we went to the same elementary school. She was a quiet girl with black hair. She didn't say much, so I never really spoke to her. A quiet girl with black hair? That sure sounds like Chinatsu. I could feel my cheeks lift into a smile as I spoke. It seems like Chinatsu was much the same, even when she was a little kid. I don't know if she goes to this school, though. In fact, her family moved away, if I recall correctly. They moved? Yeah, I think there was some sort of accident or something. It was a long time ago, and I wasn't really close to Chinatsu, so I don't remember much about it. Well, it's not a lot, but it's better than nothing. Do you remember anything else, like where she used to live? Like I said, I wasn't too close to her, so I don't know. Megami frowned. I could see that she was straining herself to remember. I think she lived by that bridge in town. If you go there and ask around, you might find something. Sorry if that wasn't very helpful, Aki-kun. No, it's fine. You were a lot more helpful than you think, Megami. In fact, I'm so relieved that I feel like yelling for joy. Finally, I have a lead. I have proof that Chinatsu Misaki really does exist. Did exist. Honestly, how did I not know to ask around about her? She's always hanging out by that bridge. Someone must know who she is. Right, I'm gonna get going now. I'll see you later, Megami. Yes, see you, Hidi-kun. I turn around and begin to run, desperate to begin following my lead. Finally, after weeks of agonizing, I have a clue about the elusive Chinatsu Misaki. I don't know how she's managed to keep such a low profile, but mark my words, I will find you, Chinatsu. Damn. Ugh. The field train! You guys hear that? The field train, it's in the distance, I can hear it coming! 7 houses into my church, nothing has changed. Nobody heard of the Misaki family, let alone Chinatsu, and nobody recalled seeing a girl that matched her description. The looks I received were weird, and I felt like a salesman walking from door to door, but I couldn't be helped. I hate door knockers as much as anybody else, but desperate times call for desperate measures. I'll find Chinatsu, even if I have to ask everyone in town. I walked up to the next house and prepared myself for disappointment, simultaneously hoping for the best. The front door opened before my eyes, revealing an old woman within. Yes, may I help you? Well, at least elderly people are generally nicer about refusing help. I was wondering, do you know if a Misaki family lives around here? The woman frowned in response to my question. Misaki? Yes, a friend of mine has been absent from school for a while, so I've been worried about her, but I don't know where she lives. I've often seen her by the bridge near here, so I was thinking that... My voice trailed off before I'd even finished speaking. I had given the same spiel to several strangers already, but the only change was how I was refused. At best, I received a sympathetic look and I'm sorry. I hope your friend gets well soon. At worst, it was looks of irritation and I clipped, we don't know anything, please leave. So, what will the response be this time, I wonder? Oh, I do know the Misaki family. That does ring a bell. It does. That's right, Misaki. The woman repeated the name to herself, as though trying to stir a memory of years gone by. Ah, yes. I believe the Misaki family used to live in this house. My husband and I bought it from them nearly a decade ago. As soon as the words left her mouth, I could feel a little sliver of hope. I've been nursing inside my chest shatter. Oh my, are you alright? You look awfully pale. No, I'm fine. Even if she is a bearer of bad news, I don't want to worry this nice old woman. Are you sure the family was Misaki? Definitely. My memory might not be what it used to be, but I wouldn't forget something like that. And they lived here 10 years ago? Yes. My husband and I moved here to Okutama because it's so peaceful. We were getting tired of the life in the city and wanted to spend the rest of our days somewhere quieter. I remember how delighted my husband and I were when we found this house, as it was so cheap. It was almost as if the previous residents just wanted to be rid of it, though I can't imagine why. I slowly breathed as I tried to calm down and think. Even if the previous owners of this house were called Misaki, they aren't necessarily the family I'm after. Misaki isn't an uncommon name after all. Chinatsu isn't even the only Misaki at my school. This must be a coincidence, a big coincidence, a scary coincidence. Even so, I'd better just ask to make sure. So, the Misaki family, did they, have a daughter called Chinatsu? A daughter, The old woman placed one hand under her chin as she muttered to herself. I never met their daughter, but they did mention having one. They did. Yes, now let me think. I believe it was something like, our daughter Chinatsu used to love it here too. The field train has arrived, everybody. The field train has pulled into the fucking station. After speaking with that old woman, I spent the rest of my time in a nauseating daze. I tried to process all of the information at my disposal, work through the inconsistencies, but nothing added up. I don't understand. How could it be the same Misaki family, even though I met and spoke with Chinatsu multiple times? My imagination isn't nearly good enough to conduct such a vivid, realistic human being. And what are the odds that I'd imagine someone who really does exist? Even so, if what the old woman said is true, then I can't have met Chinatsu Misaki. It's not possible. According to that woman, Chinatsu and her family moved away from Okutama 10 years ago. I just don't get it. I don't understand this at all. Feeling sick to my stomach, I stopped dragging my heels and started walking home. My head hurt, and I could feel bile rising in my throat. But above all, what pained me was how much sense everything else began to make. That must be why none of my teachers knew Chinatsu, and why I never saw her in the hallways at school. It also explains why Megami hadn't seen her in elementary school. It's because Chinatsu Misaki shouldn't be in Okutama anymore. She shouldn't exist. And yet, despite that, I saw her, didn't I? I spoke to her. I sat in the literary club room with her. We stood at the bridge together. We walked to school together. At that moment, I realized a disgusting truth. I was the only one. Chinatsu even told me that herself. She said she didn't have any other friends. I never saw anybody else interact with her, and she never mentioned other people. Now I know why. After all, how could a girl who isn't supposed to exist here have friends? Although my destination was supposed to be my own house, I soon found myself at Chinatsu's bridge. I held onto the cold steel bars, ignoring the bite of the night air. I looked out over the rushing dark blue water and screamed, "What the hell is going on?" Ignorant of the fact that I was in public and that anybody and everybody could hear me, I shouted out. Nobody answered me, of course. Nobody even showed their face. But for me, a person searching for answers, that wasn't good enough. What do I do now? I shouted out again, still ignorant of the people around me. I must look pretty unbalanced to the other people right now. A teenage boy in school uniform shouting nonsense into the darkness. But I don't really care what they think. Right now, the only thing on my mind is Chinatsu.